participating in a family-themed variety show alongside my younger brother. The production team encouraged us to open our hearts and share our innermost thoughts. The usually bright and cheerful brother unexpectedly broke down in tears, lamenting my reluctance to grow close to him during our childhood, resulting in a rather strained sibling relationship. Amidst the audience's sympathetic gazes, I found myself in a complex position as I defended, "But you spent your days playing with that neighbor's dog, and then expected me to cuddle with you upon your return. How could I possibly grow closer to you?" He paused for a moment, bewildered, and retorted, "You even gave away my beloved pet dog, Xiao Bai." In disbelief, I shot back, "You were practically making out with Xiao Bai, proclaiming it was female and that you intended to marry it. So, what does being female mean? It must marry you?" My brother was left speechless. Nearby, a popular celebrity was doubled over with laughter. I cast a sidelong glance at him, quipping, "As if you're not the subject of discussion here, ergo?" One day when I received an urgent call from my younger brother, I was in the midst of signing a multi-million-dollar contract, "Sister, what is it?" A sudden flutter of anxiety crossed my brow whenever when Zijan, that rascal, addressed me as sister. It invariably signaled trouble. On the other end, he chuckled, "Next week, I'm participating in a family variety show, but mom and dad are abroad, so I can only count on you since entering university," when Zijan had been signed by a talent agency and had become a rising star. I was taken aback to discover that this usually carefree little brat had carved out a niche for himself in the entertainment industry through sheer talent. After signaling my assistant to close the door, I decisively declined. "Not going, I'm too busy." Hey, sister, do you remember Brother Heng Song-Heng?"
Yes.
"He's the behind-the-scenes investor for this show and a special guest. The original guest had to drop out, and they're looking for someone last minute. Sister, if you could spare a few days, we could save the day together. After all, we've known each other for so long, and he's helped me out a few times in the industry." Song Hung had been our neighbor during childhood. He later went abroad for further studies, and we had lost touch, only occasionally connecting. I only knew that he had become a top-tier celebrity in the industry. Hearing Wen Zizen's persistent pleas over the phone, it seemed I had no choice but to acquiesce to this variety show. Glancing at the documents beside me, I raised an eyebrow. "I'll consider going, but on one condition. You must convince Song Hung to endorse our new product."
What?
"You want Song Hung to endorse the lipstick line?" I smiled slightly, am not very familiar with him, so he may not agree easily. "Thus, it's up to you." After a brief silence, when Zijan muttered under his breath, "Clearly, it would be easier for you to ask him." "What was that?" I said. "All right." When Zijan replied with a doggedly cheerful tone, "Sister, we'll be waiting for you on the show." After ending the call, I tapped my fingers thoughtfully on the table. Spending a few days on a variety show and securing a top celebrity endorsement could prove to be quite lucrative. 2. When the time arrived, I promptly made my way to the recording venue. This family-oriented variety show was set to be broadcast live, featuring 3 pairs of guests, along with the special guest Song Hung. The premise was simply to engage in games, experience life, and strengthen bonds. The presence of the popular Song Hung heightened viewers' anticipation for the show. "Oh no, this is Brother Heng's first solo variety show. I must support him." I heard that when Zijan invited his sister to participate. Is she the one he mentioned before? The sister who used to beat him up as a child?
Ha ha ha.
The acclaimed actor Chen Guanjiu is bringing his precious daughter Chen Tian for her debut on a variety show. Oh my, I can't wait. The recording venue was vast, and I searched in vain for Wen Zijan. "Wen Zom?" A sweet voice called out. I turned to see Han Kersen, another guest for the recording. Her eyes sparkled as she remarked, "I didn't expect to run into you here. What a coincidence." I replied nonchalantly, removing my sunglasses. "I am Wen Jixia." "Indeed, quite the coincidence. I heard that Wen Ko's company is currently seeking a new brand ambassador," she continued, her smile unwavering as she gestured to a handsome young man beside her. "This is my younger brother Han Kyuan, a budding idol. If you have the chance, please keep us in mind." I appraised Han Kersen for a moment, tucking my sunglasses into my collar, finding the situation rather ironic. 3 years ago, I had spun off a team from the Wen family enterprise to establish the Wen Co beauty brand, and at that time, my ideal brand ambassador was none other than the fresh-faced Han Kersen. She possessed a pure appearance and an endearing demeanor. Although her popularity was modest then, I firmly believed that a brand and its ambassador could flourish together. To express my earnestness, I had brought along a substantial stack of brand introductions and samples to personally approach her. Yet, she had disdainfully flung the samples to the ground, exclaiming, "How can an unknown brand approach me for endorsement? What if it ruins my skin? Can you just leave me alone?" 3 years later, the Wen Co brand had surged from obscurity to become a renowned domestic beauty line, while Han Kersen remained a lukewarm star. Nevertheless, her audacity was rather commendable. I chuckled softly. An unknown brand hardly matches your status. Han Kerson's smile faltered, but I chose to ignore her and turn to leave. My arm was suddenly grasped, and Han Kerson, with reddened eyes, stammered, "You may have misunderstood me. I didn't mean Wen Jixia." A cool, magnetic voice interrupted our conversation. Song Hung, dressed in a loose white shirt, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, bore a gentle smile in his eyes. "So, you are here." I momentarily lost my composure. After all these years, I hadn't anticipated him to be so much more captivating in person than on screen. I instinctively replied, "I just arrived and was looking around but couldn't find anyone." "Song Laosher," Han Kerson interjected, her tears suspended on her lashes. "I'm so grateful to be able to participate in your variety show. Thank you for this opportunity." I was left speechless. Song Hung glanced at her, nodding slightly. "The lounge is over there. It's air-conditioned, so you can go cool off for a bit." "Ah." Without acknowledging her further, Song Hung turned to me with a smile. "Long time no see." 3. Song Hung led me to find Wen Zijan, and without much pleasantry, the recording of the variety show commenced swiftly. The 3 pairs of guests included Wen Zijan and me, Han Kerson and Han Kiyuan, and the acclaimed actor Chen Guanju with his 4-year-old daughter Chen Tian. "Oh." And a special guest, Song Hung. The host cheerfully announced, "Now we begin our first activity, Unheard Voices." This segment allows family members to express their innermost feelings, sharing words they often leave unspoken. Our first pair of guests is the siblings Han Kerson and Han Kiyuan. It was the typical sentimental program format. Han Kerson and Han Kiyuan clasped hands, gazing at each other with teary eyes, recounting stories from their childhood, oscillating between the brother lamenting how much his sister had sacrificed and the sister lamenting her brother as hardships. With emotionally charged background music playing, they began to weep uncontrollably. I rested my chin on my hand, yawning out of boredom. When Zijan, beside me, cracked open a sunflower seed and whispered, "This is so fake." I nodded in agreement. Are their feelings really that genuine? I can't believe she never hit her brother. When Zijan remained silent. However, the live audience was utterly moved. Oh no, honestly, I think it's not easy for them in the entertainment industry, supporting each other all this time. It's so heartwarming. Did you see the expressions on Wen Zijan as siblings? They're quite intriguing. Have you noticed Brother Heng? Why is he always looking to the right? Who's sitting next to him? I felt a gentle poke on my left arm and turned to find Song Heng's light gaze upon me. "What's up?" He smirked slightly, lowering his voice. "I heard you want me to be your new product ambassador?" While Han Kerson was still sobbing on stage. I was taken aback by Song Heng's question at such a moment. Quickly regaining my composure, I responded quietly, "Yes, for our new lipstick line called First Love. I believe you would be perfect for it." "Why do you think I'm suitable?" Up close, I could see the natural curve of his eyelashes. "Your status is here, and your image embodies the national heartthrob," I replied earnestly. "Moreover, let us not forget, you're exceptionally handsome, truly fitting for it. Additionally, the purchasing power of your fans is considerable." He chuckled lightly, the inflection of his voice rising. "Then why not hire me as the brand ambassador?" I was momentarily at a loss for words. "I can't afford it. It would be wiser to invest that money in product development. I'll give you a discount." "What?" As I was momentarily dazed, his long fingers reached toward my collar. I instinctively shifted aside, losing my balance on the high stool, but he firmly caught my arm. Song Hung lifted the sunglasses he was holding. They're about to fall. I realized I had forgotten the sunglasses that were tucked into my collar. "Thank you," I murmured, reaching out to take the sunglasses from him. "I'll hold on to them for you," he said naturally, placing the sunglasses in the pocket of his shirt. "You'll be up soon." "Ah?" For I turned to see that Han Kerson and Han Kiyuan had taken their seats, while the figure on stage had shifted to Wen Zijan. He had just introduced himself and was now introducing me. "My sister is 3 years older than me. She runs her own company and is usually quite busy. We haven't seen each other for 3 consecutive months. So I'm grateful for this show, allowing us to share our thoughts." I watched Wen Zijan on stage, looking fresh and composed, having transformed from a silly boy into a cheerful and bright young man. Smiling, I refocused my attention to listen intently to him. When we were young, our parents were quite busy, and my sister and I spent our childhood in our hometown, which we lived through for 8 or 9 years. I cherish those times. I really love my sister. Even if Wen Zijan paused, his eyes immediately glistening with tears, even if my sister doesn't love me as much, I still love her very much. The room fell silent for a moment, and I was taken aback, glancing at Song Hung. Is this part of the show? He seems genuinely emotional. Song Hung's expression mirrored my surprise. No, this show has no script. I was bewildered. When the host called him up, when Zijan had already used several tissues, his eyes red, resembling a pitiful little puppy. The comments were flooded with sympathy. Meanwhile, I was left in a state of confusion. What is happening? Honestly, I didn't want to say any of this, but once that emotional music started, when Zijan's sobs released like a kettle boiling over, I just couldn't help it. I genuinely feel that throughout my life, I have been the one investing emotions. From a young age, you have been unwilling to grow close to me. Time and again, I have pursued you like a devoted admirer. Yet you have treated me with disdain. You do not like me, nor do you acknowledge my presence. The host hastily offered an entire box of tissues, which he took and began to sob unabashedly. The viewers in the live stream lamented passionately. My heart aches for Zijan. Sob, sob, sob. I wish to be his sister. Goodness, how can this sister behave so? If my brother were Wen Zijan, how could I bear to ignore him? So, what if he runs a company? Sever ties with such a sister. Having her is worse than having none. Wait, may I inquire? When Zijan sniffled a few more times, but I truly have never blamed you, sister. I regarded him with a complex expression. Indeed. My dear brother seems to have some issues with his reasoning. I believe your memory is rather poor. Should I remind you? My brows knitted together in distaste. In our childhood, you would play in the mud with the neighbors ergo daily, and upon returning, you would not bathe yet insist on sticking to me. How could I grow close to you? What? When Zijan's tears ceased, I retorted mercilessly. You chased after me like a foolish dog every day. Could I not run away? The emotional music in the background abruptly halted, and the barrage of comments came to a grinding halt. When Zijan momentarily looked dumbfounded, then argued back. But you even gave away my beloved pet dog, Xiaobai. I raised it from childhood. At this thought, I found myself at a loss for words. You tongue-kissed Xiaobai and insisted it was female, wanting to marry it. What of it? Does being female necessitate marriage to you? Xiaobai runs away from you faster than anyone. Not only do you chase me, you chase dogs as well. Have you forgotten your rabies vaccinations? Upon hearing this, when Zijan was left completely stunned, no longer able to retort, likely recalling the memories. As I reflected on our childhood, my anger only grew. When Zijan truly was a source of constant concern. At the critical point of my frustration, a low chuckle from a distance clearly pierced my ears. I froze for a moment, my gaze shifting to see Song Hung with a smug smile, reveling in his amusement. I had almost forgotten that this instigator was also present. In our youth, he had encouraged my brother to play in the mud while he stood by with a lighter as a strategist, coaxing my brother to capture tadpoles, resulting in a house full of toads that terrified me. He led my brother astray, while he himself had gone abroad to enjoy life incognito. After much effort, I had finally managed to tame Wen Zijan a bit. And now, Song Hung had the audacity to laugh. I shot him a glance and silently mouthed, as if you aren't part of this, ergo? Song Hung's smile faltered momentarily, and then he coughed lightly, awkwardly. The crowd's attention shifted to this cough, and the camera conveniently zoomed in. Song Hung donned an official smile and concluded, indeed, no beating in childhood is without merit. The live stream's comments flooded in. I bow in apology. I wronged Wen Zijan's sister. Haha, Wen Jixia is just like me. I used to greatly dislike my brother, yet he clung to me. In comparison, the warmth between Han Kursin and her brother resembles a scripted drama. When Zijan and I returned to our seats, his expression evidently more innocent. Hee sister. I thought you always disliked me. Indeed. The next segment featured Chun Guan and his daughter. Little Chun sweetly expressed her desire to watch cartoons for an extra half hour, to which Chun Guan lovingly agreed, wishing for her to grow up happily. Their heartwarming father-daughter bond melted everyone's hearts. Next, we will embark on our second segment, the family exchange journey. Each guest will draw a corresponding colored card. Guests who draw the same color will become family for this segment and complete tasks together. It was indeed an interesting segment. I drew a blue card and surveyed the surroundings to see who else had drawn the same color. My arm was firmly gripped when Zijan, clutching a rainbow card, looked alarmed. Sister, save me. A glance revealed that Han Kiyuan also held a rainbow card, and I looked at Wen Zijan. Feeling perplexed, isn't Han Kiyuan your junior from the same company? You know each other, so it's a perfect pairing. No. When Zijan vehemently shook his head, he is gay. I was taken aback, glancing at the refined Han Kiyun and then back at my foolish brother.
Gay.
When Zijan instinctively hid behind me, concealing his card, and whispered plaintively, "Sister, you don't follow trending topics, do you? You don't know. He always deliberately flirts with me, and I have no desire to sell myself." Previously, the company arranged for me to take him on a travel variety show, and he suddenly fell into my arms and accidentally touched my backside. I initially thought he was just being friendly. Then I saw our fan edits trending online, and the video was so suggestive. When Zijan grimaced, I almost thought we were in a relationship. Such a scheming gay. Astonished yet somewhat amused, I regarded Wen Zijan from head to toe with a complicated expression. "So you?" "I am a staunch heterosexual. I refuse to be in the same group with him. Otherwise, I could never clear my name." Witnessing my brother's utterly resistant demeanor, I couldn't help but laugh. Poor little brother. When Zijan began to act petulantly, "Sister, please switch with me. I beg you, sister, sister, sister." Reluctantly, I agreed. "All right, hand me your card." Before I could finish my sentence, the hem of my clothing was gently tugged. I looked down to see a blue card being held up. Chun Tian blinked her large eyes, her voice sweet. "Sister, I want to be in a group with you. Could you please not switch with this uncle?" When Zijan froze mid-action, a hint of annoyance creeping in me. "Uncle? Her? Sister?" Chun Tian blinked a couple more times. Hiding behind me, "I simply want to be in a group with a sister." "Uncle, could you please let me have her?" On one side stood my blood-related brother, while on the other was a little girl I hardly knew. It was an obvious choice. Such a sweet child. The smile at the corners of my mouth was uncontainable as I directly picked up Chun Tian. "Sister agrees. Little brother, step aside." Wen Zijan. Another card waved in front of me, revealing Song Heng's striking features. He raised an eyebrow. I also drew a blue card. "Take me along." I momentarily lost my train of thought. I must admit, Song Heng's face is truly exquisite. Song Heng patted Wen Zijan's shoulder. "Good luck." Wen Zijan, filled with indignation, turned away. "I'm cutting ties with you all." Sob, sob, sob. After the second segment formed teams, we proceeded to make desserts. When Zijan somehow persuaded Chen Guan and successfully exchanged cards. The outcome was that Han Kursin paired with Wen Zijan, Chen Guan with Han Kiyuan, and I teamed up with Chen Tian and Song Heng. A long table was set with an array of ingredients. Song Heng glanced over briefly. "Let us make an air cake. It's quite simple." I nodded. "That works. I'm clueless. I'll follow your lead."
"No worries.
"I'll handle it." Chun Tian clapped her hands in approval. The viewers in the live stream were eagerly engaged. Why aren't Wen Zijan and Han Kiyuan in the same group? What a pity. Sob, sob, sob. Only able to find sugar in a pile of garbage. Don't butt in. Haven't you seen that our Zijan is already annoyed enough to switch cards with others? Han Kiyuan should tone down his attention-seeking. Get lost. Oh dear, stop arguing. Haven't you noticed a detail? When did Wen Jixia's sunglasses end up on Song Heng?
Wow.
Is there gossip? Song Heng leisurely rolled up his sleeves, cracked the egg whites, and added a few drops of lemon juice, skillfully whisking it all together. Noticing that he didn't require my assistance, I could only fidget with the table, touch the flour, and feign busyness. A low, soft laugh reached my ears. It was obvious what he was laughing about, and I felt a twinge of annoyance. Don't laugh. If I do nothing and just stand by, I'll surely be berated by netizens. Then help me roll up my sleeves, he said nonchalantly, extending his arm. I was momentarily taken aback, observing the flour on his hands while Chen Tian beside us tiptoed to reach QQ candy and stuffed it into her mouth. Well, they both seemed quite occupied. Catching my gaze, Song Heng curled his lips in a smirk, pushing his arm forward with a teasing air. "Wen Jixia, your temper remains as it was." Silently rolling his sleeve up a bit more, I couldn't help but whisper, "By all accounts, I am 18 months older than you. Regardless, you should address me as sister in front of Wen Zijan." I won tea. Song Heng coolly withdrew his hand and resumed whisking the egg mixture. I was left speechless. "Song Ergu, you've changed quite a bit. You used to only blow things up, but now you can cook." He paused slightly. "If memory serves, I explained to you when we were young that it was Wen Zijan who insisted on blowing things up, and I was merely trying to exchange his good lighter for the broken one I handed him. And how do I explain the room full of toads scaring me?" He twitched at the corner of his eye. That was Wen Zijan attempting to mimic tadpoles looking for their mother. I warned him they were toads. But he didn't believe me. I shot him a glance. "Oh, anyway, my brother has a poor memory, so I suppose you can say whatever you like." Song Heng. The egg mixture in the transparent bowl gradually turned pale as Song Hung added cornstarch and continued to stir. I recalled what he had said earlier and lowered my voice to ask about that discount you mentioned. How much can you offer? If it were 50% off. I could grit my teeth and sign. No discounts now. It's doubled. Song Hung snorted lightly. I was left dumbfounded. Given your significant objections to me, why would I offer any discount? His gaze held an inscrutable meaning. Or perhaps you could sweet-talk me. Who knows, I might.
Bang!
The sudden loud noise from the microwave interrupted our conversation. When Zijan hurriedly cut the power and opened the microwave door. What have you done? Han Kurson appeared flustered. Didn't you say you wanted hard-boiled eggs? I just put them in the microwave. How can you heat whole eggs in the microwave? When Zijan's voice rose, they'll explode. I didn't know. When Zijan was cleaning the microwave's interior, frowning in irritation. Couldn't you have asked me? This is common sense. Don't you know? Hearing this, I began to piece together what had happened. Han Kuyuan from the adjacent group stepped forward to mediate. When Zijan, you could speak more kindly. There's no need to be so angry. I'll help you clean up. With that, Han Kuyuan thoughtfully dampened a cloth and approached to assist. No need. When Zijan distastefully stepped aside. At that moment, the barrage of comments online erupted with criticism. What kind of attitude is this from Wen Zijan? Is he putting on airs? Han Kurson was only trying to help. To put it bluntly, this is a case of good intentions gone awry. I don't understand why Wen Zijan's attitude toward Han Kuyuan is so poor. Even if he doesn't want to associate. They are colleagues from the same company. There's no need for such a sour face. Observing the tense atmosphere, I sighed. My foolish younger brother couldn't keep secrets. And this would surely lead to a backlash from netizens. He was riding a wave of popularity that shouldn't be squandered. Setting down the bowl, I walked over. It's a small matter. Don't be upset. When Zijan's anger seemed to dissipate upon seeing me, he said nothing and quietly continued to tidy the microwave. Han Kurson blinked back tears. I'm so sorry for causing you trouble. I just wanted to help. I forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. It's quite all right. Really? Is it truly all right?
Han Keksin hesitated, glancing at Wen Zijan.
I'm afraid he might hold a grudge against me. Upon hearing this, when Zijan tossed aside the cloth in his hand. What do you mean? Are you subtly implying that I have a bad temper? At this moment, a camera, eager for drama, zoomed in on the scene, capturing the quintessential moment of variety shows. When Zijan, filled with pent-up frustration, exclaimed, I even suspect you did this on purpose. You spilled flour all over me, corn oil all over the sink. And now you've blown up the microwave with an egg. I don't care if you're trying to grab attention, but this is wasteful. Do you understand? Han Kurson stood frozen, small, pitiful, and helpless. Han Kuyuan stepped protectively in front of her, refusing to back down. When Zijan, you may have a problem with me, but please choose your words wisely. Don't bully my sister. I couldn't help but smirk inwardly. These two were surely scheming for a trending topic. Former CPs turning on each other? The innocent flower being bullied by a popular idol? When Zijan grew angrier, about to retort when I gently grasped his arm. Don't take it to heart. My brother usually cooks, so he is sensitive about food waste. He just feels pained whenever he sees it wasted. But it's quite curious. I casually glanced at Han Kurson, offering a friendly smile. By the way, aren't you and your brother from a poor background? If you don't know how to cook, what did you eat before debuting? The air became tense for a moment. Han Kurson quickly replied, Our brother cooks. He has always taken care of me. Han Kuyuan nodded in agreement. I chuckled lightly. But earlier, I saw teacher Chen Guanzhong busy. I thought Han Kuyuan was like me, utterly inept in the kitchen. Han Kuyuan, the esteemed actor Chen Guanzhong, who had been diligently kneading dough, looked up and smiled at us before returning to his task. I raised an eyebrow at Han Kurson. Little did she know, she was no match for me. It was precisely because I admired her inspiring rise from humble beginnings that I wanted her as a spokesperson. I hadn't anticipated that her persona was manufactured. This pair had probably attracted countless fans with their fabricated stories. Han Kurson's expression stiffened. Let's not waste any more time. We should hurry and complete the task. I nodded with a smile. Certainly. However, the netizens finally sensed something amiss. Wait, why did I feel something was off? Han Kurson and Han Kuyuan can't cook? Incredible. Lacking even basic knowledge, and yet they peddle their struggles of rural origins? I spent a fortune on their endorsement. What the heck? If you're going to deceive, at least do it with some professionalism, alright? I demand a refund. The little farce concluded, and I returned to my spot. Song Hung handed me the whipped egg whites. Pour them onto the parchment paper. You can shape them however you like. With all that commotion, you couldn't even go over to mediate? I quietly complained as I took the bowl and casually shaped a heart on the parchment. Song Hung raised an eyebrow. You can't let others bully you? Do as you wish. I'll cover for you, since the show is mine. I was left speechless. Unreasonable, yet undeniably logical. Chin Tian, from the corner, rummaged for a bag of cranberries, grinning without a care. Add this. Sure, let us add this. Song Hung gently accepted the cranberries and sprinkled them over the egg whites. As my gaze shifted from his long, fair fingers, I silently lowered my head. Why did I always feel an odd sensation in my heart? The second phase has finally concluded. Everyone savored the culinary delights prepared by their respective teams, except for Wen Zijian's group, who were left empty-handed, wearing expressions of deep grievance. Reluctantly, I handed him a small piece of cake, prompting him to bounce over to my side, exclaiming, "Sister, thank you for helping me just now, hee." I shot him a sidelong glance. Aren't we supposed to be estranged? We're reconciled now, hee, he replied cheerfully. After a few bites of cake, he could no longer contain his chatter. I truly admire this brother-sister duo. They seem to be quite ill. Oh, by the way, sister, it's getting late, and we have to stay here overnight. Tomorrow's third phase is said to involve outdoor activities. But I couldn't glean any further details. All right, I nodded casually. By the way, what did Song Hung say about representing the brand? When Zijian blinked, you spent most of the day together, didn't he agree? I pondered for a moment. I'm uncertain whether his stance is affirmative or negative. One moment, he mentions a discount on the endorsement fee, and the next, he doubles it. Speaking of which, he seemed to want me to coax him. How does one coax? Then, he must be agreeing. Saying the endorsement fee doubles is just to tease you. I found myself perplexed. Tease me? Why would he want to tease me? When Zijian reflected for a moment, perhaps he finds it amusing. You should seek out Hung Go when you have the chance. I'm sure he'll agree. After a moment's contemplation, I concurred that this approach was feasible. All right, since there are no activities tonight, I'll go to his room. The more I thought about it, the more I felt time was of the essence, so I stood up. I need to return to the hotel to prepare materials. I must demonstrate my seriousness. Not tonight, when Zijian said, his face a mask of confusion. The live broadcast of the show won't be interrupted. There is still tonight. As I scrolled through the product information on my phone, I waved my hand dismissively. I know.
Hey, sister?
That evening, the production team arranged a hotel suite, and I printed out all the materials. Considering that everyone was likely still awake around 8 or 9, I thought it inappropriate to discuss work openly. So I patiently waited until 11 o'clock, clutching a hefty stack of documents as I knocked on Song Hung's door. After a moment, the door creaked open. Song Hung stood there, his hair dripping with water, clad loosely in a bathrobe that revealed his fair, muscular chest. Upon seeing me, he appeared momentarily taken aback. What's the matter? I felt a bit awkward. Were you in the shower? I just finished. Song Hung opened the door wider, towel in hand, drying his damp hair. The production team hasn't scheduled any activities for the evening. I know, I replied with a smile, raising the materials in my hand. Didn't you ask me to coax you earlier? Here I am, ready to give you a chance? Song Hung hesitated with his hand on the door handle. Then let me get dressed first. It's fine, I'll be quick. I entered, placing the documents on the table. He remained by the door, his ears tinged with a suspicious shade of red. He coughed twice. Are you sure? I blinked. I'm already here. What else is there? Well, that works too. After a slight hesitation, Song Hung shut the door and approached, flipping through the materials before me. I elaborated on Wen Ko's rise to fame over the past 3 years, all the way to the product quality inspection reports, and then cheerfully remarked, "You've never endorsed a beauty brand. I hope Wen Ko can be your first. So, what discount can you offer?" He set the materials aside, changing the subject. "I'm curious. Why didn't you approach me for endorsement 3 years ago?" I blinked, recalling that 3 years prior, I had indeed considered Song Hung. At that time, his ensemble drama had just exploded in popularity, while Wen Ko was just beginning to establish itself. I had no surplus funds, and I certainly couldn't expect him to endorse for free. After a moment's reflection, I replied with high emotional intelligence. "I've been saving money for the past 3 years just so I could come to you for endorsement today." Suddenly, a light chuckle escaped him. Song Hung raised an eyebrow. "All right, I agree. You can set the endorsement fee." I leaped up in excitement. "That's fantastic. I'll head back now and have my assistant draft the contract." Just as my hand reached for the doorknob, his long, defined fingers clasped my wrist. His gaze held an ambiguous meaning. "Isn't that a bit too fast? Do I not deserve some dignity?" I was momentarily confused, blinking in bewilderment. He lowered his eyes, his long, slightly curled eyelashes casting shadows beneath, deepening the color of his gaze.
Didn't Wenzijan tell you?
Tell me what? Aside from the room being free of cameras, the outdoor live broadcast has been continuous. At that moment, the live chat was in an uproar. Can someone explain what is happening? A midnight rendezvous in bathrobes. I heard that Song Hung and Wenzijan have known each other since childhood, so he must know Wenjixia for a long time too. Oh, my childhood sweethearts? I just rewatched the playback, and the two of them in the corner of the frame are so adorable. There's definitely something going on between them.
12.
Realizing the implications of Song Hung's reminder, I suddenly comprehended. Wenzijan had indeed mentioned that the live broadcast was ongoing, but I had dismissed it at the time. This meant that my late-night visit to Song Hung's room had already been broadcasted live across the internet. I truly could not wash my hands clean of this mess. I stood there, frozen. You couldn't have given me a heads up? I thought you knew. Song Hung replied nonchalantly. I even asked you if you were sure, and you said you'd be quick. Good heavens, it's all a misunderstanding. The heat rose to my ears, and I shot him a glare. Why is your production team so sneaky? Broadcasting live in the middle of the night? Naturally. It's to provide some opportunities for those who want to add drama, he quipped, tossing me his phone, which was currently streaming Han Kursin and Han Kiyuan. It seemed they were trying to regain public favor by going for a night run, discussing philosophical matters as siblings. It felt as if the netizens were all huddled at the door of my and Song Heng's live stream, nearly going wild. So what now? How on earth was I supposed to leave this room? My forehead was lightly tapped, and another teasing laugh followed. Aren't you a businesswoman? Can't you think like one? Capitalize on the buzz by creating a ship with me, and when the show concludes, officially announce Wenko-S brand ambassador, leading to a surge in the company's stock, which would benefit us both. His reasoning was sound. However, as he leaned in closer, the exposed skin of his chest was right in front of me, and the rich timbre of his voice sent my heart racing erratically. The back of my hand suddenly felt cool, a bead of water from his hair cascading down. I paused, coming back to my senses, and suddenly raised my gaze to meet the hint of amusement in his eyes. The words Wenzijan had said, "He's just teasing you," echoed in my mind. Was he also playing with me? Feeling a surge of annoyance, I withdrew my hand and shot him a glare. You're quite the schemer.
Hey, Wenjixia?
I turned, opened the door, and strode back to my room. The netizens were left puzzled. Given Wenjixia's dark expression, could it be that my hungo is really too fast? 13. Early the next morning, we gathered together. Today marks the third activity phase, love that never fades. All guests will be hiking today, and we will have a picnic at the mountaintop to watch the sunset together. Though the sun may set, our love will never wane. Han Kursin and Han Kiyuan found an excuse to withdraw from the recording early in the morning. It seemed they couldn't withstand the pressure after being ridiculed during the day and facing further mockery for their night run, which made them appear like clowns. Their path ahead is likely to be even more challenging. Freed from Han Kiyuan's incessant harassment, Wenzijan felt a wave of joy wash over him. The bed prepared by the production team is incredibly soft and comfortable. I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow last night. Today's mountain hike will undoubtedly be a breeze. I let out a yawn and replied, zipping on my jacket and donning my cap, I retrieved my telescopic trekking poles from my backpack. Let us go, time for the hike. The viewers in the live stream were brimming with anticipation. It seems Wenjixia didn't sleep well, but I see that Brother Heng looks quite energetic. I also didn't sleep well. I'm really curious about what they did in Brother Heng's room for those 10 minutes last night. Oh no. So Wenjixia is actually the boss of Wenko. I'm a devoted fan of Wenko. It works wonders. Sob sob. I approve of this match. The weather was pleasantly cool, with the gentle murmurs of mountain streams adding to the ambience. The group ambled along, chatting as they climbed, with 4-year-old Chen Tian brimming with energy, happily darting ahead, while Chun Wan followed closely behind, beaming. When Zijan and I walked together, when Song Hung casually sauntered over to my side, I quietly switched positions with Wen Zijan, only for him to inadvertently drift back. I remained silent. However, Wen Zijan, oblivious, inquired, Brother Heng, I've noticed you rarely take on roles in idol dramas. You mostly do ensemble pieces, mysteries, and political intrigue. Song Hung responded with a soft casually brushing aside stones in front of me with his trekking pole. When Zijan continued, so, Brother Hung, does that mean your first on-screen kiss is still intact? I was momentarily taken aback. casting a doubtful glance at Song Hung. Had he truly never shot a kissing scene? Are today's top stars so innocent? Yet, it felt as if that hum was directed at me. Sensing my gaze, Song Hung cleared his throat awkwardly. If you want to film a scene, I can help introduce you. No need as an idol. I should maintain the awareness befitting my status. Managing my own stage is sufficient. We've reached the summit. After setting up the tent and grilling equipment, the group began to barbecue while chatting. A plate of delectable, crispy skin chicken wings was presented before me, and Song Hung naturally settled down beside me on a small stool. Recalling our conversation from last night, I shifted slightly away. We really don't need to create a CP for publicity. Winco's national popularity is already quite high. For reasons unknown, an inexplicable agitation stirred within me.